thriller spanning millions of years. We're going to unpack the epic story of the Rann of Kutch, a landscape that was completely rewritten by the slow march of geological time, the sudden violence of human conflict, and nature's explosive retaliation. Just imagine standing right in the middle of a harsh, barren salt desert. For months on end, the ground beneath your feet is just this parched, cracked earth. It is an absolutely unforgiving expanse, totally, completely devoid of fresh water. It stretches for miles and miles, a blinding white mirror of salt and dry mud that just looks like it's been dead forever. But here's the massive plot hole in our story. You really have to ask yourself, how does a booming, wealthy seaport that used to yield rich rice harvests turn into a dusty, lifeless wasteland? Because believe it or not, the Rann wasn't always this desolate. Historical records and geographical evidence paint a drastically different picture, a thriving, vibrant ecosystem that was just teeming with life, trade, and agriculture. Picture the Rann around the year 1500. It wasn't a desert at all. It was a shallow sea, packed with ships navigating the mighty Indus River and all its branches. You had these towering structures like the Sindri Fort, standing guard over lush green rice fields. Fast forward to today, and it's a complete 180-degree flip. We're talking a dry, salt flat, where mirages just dance in the unbearable heat. Now, the environment is so utterly extreme that only the absolute toughest survive. We're talking specific desert bushes and incredibly resilient creatures, like the wild ass. The lush ecosystem is completely gone, replaced by a biome that somehow adapted to hypersalinity and drought. So how on earth did we get from abundant waterways to an apocalyptic wasteland? Well, let's get into part one of our story, deep time and shifting rivers. To understand this transformation, we've got to rewind to the opening act, right? Deep geological time. Over 60 million years ago, tectonic uplifts actually raised this entire region straight out of the ancient Tethys Sea. Then for millennia, think of the mighty Indus River as a giant conveyor belt, constantly depositing massive amounts of silt. As the land rose and that silt built up, the river began a slow, totally natural migration westward. It was literally silting up its own bed and moving away from the Rann, which slowly kicked off the process of drying out the ancient sea. Now, people didn't just sit around and watch this happen. They adapted. Early humans built bustling economic centers, like the ancient Vigakot Fort, actively chasing the shifting channels of the Indus before it completely dried up. They were incredibly resourceful, building forts and trading posts right along the moving delta. But nature wasn't the only force at play here. Moving into part two, weaponizing the water. Enter the human plot twist. In 1762, after a really bitter defeat, the Wazir of Sindh wanted revenge against the Rao of Kutch. But instead of just sending an army, he launched this unprecedented ecological attack. He weaponized the river itself. His goal? Cut off their lifeblood and entirely destroy their economy. And it escalated super fast. In 1762, the Wazir built the first artificial dam at Moro, which choked the life-giving water of the Nara River. Then, by 1802, a second dam over at Ali Bunder further starved the region. These human-engineered interventions absolutely crippled local agriculture. But, this human hubris was really just setting the stage for the Earth's cataclysmic final blow. Which brings us to the climax in part three, the 1819 Ali Bunder quake. This is the sudden, violent climax of our movie. We're talking apocalyptic levels of destruction. Witnesses like Captain James McMurdo reported that just before 6 p.m. on June 16, 1819, the ground literally converged, heaved, and subsided. Buildings instantly collapsed, and spires 300 kilometers away just toppled over. But the absolute most terrifying consequence was what happened to the Earth itself. Out of nowhere, this massive tectonic scarp, a literal wall of Earth, 50 to 70 kilometers long, violently thrust upward by 2 to 6 meters. The locals aptly named it the Ali Bunder, meaning the Mound of God. Guys, this wasn't some human dam. It was an impenetrable geological barricade that instantly and permanently severed the Nara River, overnight. The water that used to nurture this whole area shut off, just like a tap. This massive seismic event rapidly accelerated what those human dams had started, turning this vast expanse into an absolute unyielding desert. and this is exactly why this history matters to us today. It is the perfect example of how quickly a thriving ecosystem can be permanently destroyed when human interference and natural disasters collide. Let's look at the aftermath in Part 4, the desertification of Kutch. You can basically summarize the death of this vibrant ecosystem as the ultimate perfect storm. You had the sea retreating over millennia, wind constantly blowing silt to form the surrounding deserts, human vengeance choking the rivers with dams, and finally, a massive seismic wall sealing its fate forever. It was this inescapable combination of incredibly slow geology and blindingly rapid disaster. To really wrap your head around the sheer violence of that earthquake, remember the mighty Sindri Fort we talked about earlier? The land subsided so violently during the quake that this massive pentagon literally sank into the earth. When the floodwaters rushed in later, only a single haunting tower remained visible above the waterline. It was an event so profoundly shocking that Charles Lyell actually used it to help prove modern geological change.
But like any great blockbuster, there is a sequel. Part 5, Nature Attempts a Comeback.
Because water has a memory, right? And it wants to return. Nature always fights back. In May 1999, a severe cyclone completely obliterated modern human engineering, shattering a coastal drainage weir and allowing the sea to violently intrude right back inland. And then, in 2010, epic floods overwhelmed all human boundaries. The sheer volume of water actually found the ghost channel of the ancient Nara River and filled it, temporarily resurrecting a river that had literally been dead for nearly 2 centuries. For these brief, kind of miraculous moments, the ancient river actually reclaims its life-giving path. Pelicans return out of nowhere, and the dry, cracked earth suddenly remembers what it's like to be a wetland. It is such a haunting glimpse of the flourishing, vibrant world that existed centuries ago, long before the dams and the quakes forced it into submission. So, as nature relentlessly surges to undo these blockages and reclaim its ancient paths, I've got to leave you with this final chilling thought. Can we ever truly expect human engineering to permanently tame a landscape born of such immense, unpredictable seismic power? Definitely something to think about the next time we try to reroute nature. Thanks for joining me for this incredible ecological thriller.